Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first school video. So I really just wanted to do a sit down video and talk with y'all about school and answer questions that y'all have. So I started a new account. So I still have my main account, which is at LA Plans on Instagram, and then I started a new one just for school, and so it's at LA Plans DBA, and I just really wanted a separate page to just have follow people who are also earning a PhD or a DBA or a doctorate in some way, doing the same research, and just having a separate space, and that way I can share more content specifically about school, because I don't think everyone wants to hear about school all the time. So I did start a different account. If you are a student, I'm sharing a lot of just school related items. It's not all necessarily about my doctoral program, and I do plan to share more. It's just I'm still figuring out time management when it comes to the semester. So this was my first semester of my doctoral program. If you're new to my channel, I am earning my Doctor of Business Administration and Analytics from George Fox University. I got accepted in October. I got early acceptance, and then classes started May 3rd, I believe. It was the first week of May. I've already had 2 weeks of residency, and each year throughout our coursework we have 2 weeks of residency. So I'm done for the year when it comes for residency, and then we'll have 2 more years of it. And overall, I love my program. I'm really happy with the school that I chose, the program that I chose. My school is a cohort model, and so we do have I do have a outlined schedule, and so that I take with the same people. So within the cohort, there are people who are analytics majors like myself. We also have management and accounting majors. And for the regular coursework, we're all together. And then closer to the end of the coursework, we'll kind of divide out, but still be in that same cohort, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of questions from you guys that are all about everything from admissions to yesterday when class ended. So I think I'm just going to start answering the questions. I just wanted to provide the basics, and these questions will answer everything else. So I did divide out the questions by topic, so it was easier. So we are going to start with admissions, probably even pre-admissions. So there is one that asked, why did you choose to pursue a doctoral degree? So this is something that I have always wanted. I am the friend who loves school, went through school, always talked about school, and that's always been my goal, was to get my doctoral degree. Initially, I was going to wait until I was older to pursue my doctoral degree, but I missed school, so I graduated with my MBA in 2019. And I always said I want to get my degree when I'm older, because I ultimately want to use it to teach. And when it came down to it, I was just looking into programs, and I was looking with other people that I went to school with, because my university that I graduated from was about to launch a EDD, so an education doctoral degree. And so I was looking into that. I have a friend that I used to work with who's actually earning that. And that just got me looking into types of doctoral degrees, because for the longest time, I didn't know that there was more than a PhD. I didn't know that there was professional doctorates. And so I started doing some research on that, and then I learned more about the Doctor of Business Administration degree, and I feel like that really resonated more with me and my goals and what I wanted to pursue. So for a Doctor of Business Administration, which is the next question, why a DBA over a PhD? It is more of a practitioner degree because it is a professional doctorate, and so it's less theoretical. From what I've learned from other professors who have PhDs in our program, PhDs are a lot more writing intensive, and you work on theory, and a practitioner degree is more applicable to professionals and people who work. And so I wanted to use it for both. I want to use my degree to learn more about what I'm doing right now for my career and to advance my career, and then again at the same time later on when I want to pursue teaching, have that degree so that I qualify to teach. And so I chose to pursue a DBA at the time that I did, because I felt like everything just aligned perfectly. I spoke with one of my favorite professor from my master's program, and one of the biggest recommendations I saw is to apply early. because you have a better chance of getting in when you apply early. And so I applied with a few other people that I know that got my master's program, and I was actually the only one who got in. So I didn't know anyone else throughout the program. There's only, I think, 12 people that were in our program, and now we're already down to 10. Actually, I think there's probably 13 when we started. And we already lost 3, so there's 10 people left in our program, just because of how hard it is to keep up with all of the coursework, especially in this last class. But for the next question, which is, what was the admissions process like? It was, honestly, for me, I felt like it was more a confirmation that I was doing, and I know these are kind of like all over the place, but they all connect, I promise. So for what was the admissions process like, for me, it just felt right. Like, it felt like this was the right time. And that's one of the questions that they asked was, why are you pursuing, this degree now? What can you bring? What's different? Why do you want to, why do you like this school? And really, they're looking for candidates that are going to stay with the program, because I saw that dropout rate is really high in doctoral programs because of how much work is involved, and just because it's a long program and things happen throughout the process. And so for the admissions process, when I was answering those questions and preparing to answer those questions, it was probably the best interview that I have ever had, because I was being fully honest, talking about goals, talking about careers, talking about why I want this. I even mentioned talking about my planner and time management, and knowing this is what I want, and I'm the type of person who goes after what they want. In those interviews, if you stay calm, and I get nervous during interviews, but again, this is the first interview that I felt like I really wasn't that nervous. I felt really at ease, because it was people who are a lot like me. And in this doctoral program, now that I've gotten to know my cohort, we are all a lot alike. And I think that's one reason why I like the doctoral program more than any of my other degrees. We're all like-minded. We're all we all connect. We all click really well. Even both professors that we've had in residency, they noticed how well that we all bond, and how well we all can exchange ideas and work together. And it's really nice because we're all from different fields and all from different areas. And when I was in the admissions process, it was the dean, it was the DBA coordinator, it was other professors, and they went through this process, and they, in my opinion, look for people who think like them. And I think that's ultimately what they're looking for, is people who have that same mindset. But for the admissions process and for questions, because that was another question, is what type of questions were you asked? I was asked about why I wanted to pursue my degree, everything that y'all are asking. What is my time commitment? What do I want to do with this degree? And again, ultimately, they're just looking for, are you determined enough? Are you going to stick through this program? Are you going to represent our school? Because if you get published, when you write papers and you submit your paper to conferences, you represent the school. So they're looking for people who will represent the school. So that was, I think, everything on admissions, and then just general questions about the degree. For classes, one question was, are your classes pre-recorded or synchronous? So for the program, it is a pre-recorded program, because this program is designed for people who work. That's why it's 100% online, except for those 2 weeks of residency. But it is somewhat synchronous, because based on what class you're in. So in this current class, in my next class, we have meeting times every other Friday for this class, and then next semester we chose every other Thursday, and we got to pick the day. And with that, we have presentations about our topics. We have discussions, and it's also a set Q&A time as well with the professor, so you get that FaceTime with your cohort and your professor. But all of our weekly assignments that we have to do are pre-recorded and set up just like any other online class, where at the beginning of the week everything loads. He has pre-recorded lessons, and then you watch them, you have discussion boards, and so on. Next up is for residency. So what does residency entail for a DBA? This is one of the most popular questions, even with my friends. When I told them that I have residency, they're like, you're not becoming that kind of doctor. And so for the residencies that we have had, it is more like a seminar or a conference. And so it is class time. We do discuss topics related to the class. However, there was also research involved, and then we also had to present in my most recent class for the main paper that we had to turn in yesterday. And so we presented that topic to the dean and to other professors, and then in front of our cohort as well. And then we had individual presentations throughout the week as well that we worked on our kind of major with. So one example is that like, again, I'm an analytics major, so we broke out into a group and we had to do research on the field and then present that to the class. The accounting majors did the exact same thing, presented about accounting and so on. And so it's very different, but I would say it's more like a seminar or like a conference styled class, and then it's just class time. The next question is, would you recommend a program with a residency period? And I actually had a few people DM me on Instagram about this when I shared that I was in my second week, and I'm going to tell y'all what I told them. I do. So I was actually excited that there was a residency component to it because, one, my school's in Portland, and so I get to go to Portland twice a year, and it's a reason to go and actually travel. But two, I love that I can actually be on campus. That's one thing that throughout my bachelor's and my master's was I had to primarily take courses online because I had to work. And so I love any chance that I get to take an in-person class. So I was personally excited about it. But at the same time, I recommend that if you are looking for a doctoral program and it's online, that you do find one with a residency program, because it'll help with your presentation skills. It'll help you connect with people on campus. And if it's a cohort model, even if it's not, it'll help you connect with people who, again, have the same mindset as you, that are after the same goals. And I think it's just a great experience overall, because you can't replace that in online classes. I think it's important that, you know, you get up in front of a crowd and you present, you connect with people, and then you know, work in groups. One thing that I really disliked about my master's program was that it was very group intensive, and while I get it, it is very much individual work in your doctoral program. So it is nice to talk with people, especially people that have the same major as you. My cohort in particular is very diverse. So we all have different careers. Some people are in the military, some people are consultants, some people own their own business, some people are teachers, and then some people are, you know, just professionals trying to pursue, trying to further their careers. And we're all in different industries. One guy is in manufacturing, you know, I'm in healthcare. One person came from healthcare, one person came from banking. And so you really get to learn from other people's experience too, and talking with them. And a lot of your papers are just about your experience, or it stems from your experience. So you get to draw off of each other, you get other ideas from people in your cohort, and I just think it's a really great experience that I'm glad that we have in this program. Next question is, how often do you have to attend residency? I mentioned it, but just to reiterate, twice a year during the 3 years of coursework in May and June, and it's 4 days each, and there's a class associated with it. So for residency, the schedule's pre-made for you, and so the first class was the intro class, and there was a residency tied into that class. The residency for this class is for research and writing, and it was that professor who was there. And then next year, whatever class we're in, it's going to be the residency for that class, and they have it so that it goes with the program. So next few questions are about planning. And so I'm going to start with, did you change your planner throughout the semester? The answer is yes. I changed my planner anyways, but I am going to probably stick with this one because this is the one that I've been using the longest throughout the semester. And that is the A5 Softbound Erin Condren Focused Planner. So the size is amazing because I do have to go to residency. I think this is way too bright. It was great to have this because it was so compact. I can take this anywhere. I can take this to work. I can throw this in any bag. And that was like the biggest thing, is I really like the size. I also like the interior of the Erin Condren Focus Planner. I do share a lot of pages of this planner on both pages. I love the layout for Erin Condren academic planners. I think it's the best, and that's what I'm most familiar with, because I've been using an Erin Condren academic planner for years. And so I tried using inserts and it wasn't the same. And I think once you're familiar with something, and I think it's mainly because you know that thing works, you're always going to go back to it. This works for me, and this really helped me get back on track, because there was times when I just wasn't managing my time efficiently or effectively in class. I also had to reincorporate an hourly system, so I did go back to, or I did add a hourly planner into my planner lineup or system, so that way I can block out times that I am studying. There is tips about planning. There is someone who asked, how do you plan out your week? And with that, my biggest recommendation is don't plan on doing something every day. That is the fastest way to burn out, and I think that's why I had an extra stressful semester, because the class was stressful enough. Everybody was stressed out. Our professor kept adding stuff to it, but I wasn't making it any easier on myself, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something every single day. And I didn't plan any breaks. I didn't plan any free time, and that is really important to do, because what happens if you don't take those breaks, then you're just wasting time, because you're stressed, you're overreading. I couldn't focus. I would keep rereading, I would keep doing something, or I would look at my phone, because I really just needed a break. One of my biggest recommendations is to set times to study, and that's the time that you study. That's the time that you do your coursework, you work on your paper, you do whatever you need to do, and only during those times. Obviously, keep extra room towards the end of the week if you are not able to finish it, but ultimately make sure that you have at least one day a week that you're not working on schoolwork, because you need breaks. You need to, get away, and it helps. So the days that I did take breaks, I was able to come back the next day or after work and actually work on everything that I needed to work on. I think ultimately what happened with me is that I was writing papers about marketing in the healthcare industry, and that's what I do more than 40 hours a week at work. And so it was nonstop talking about marketing and healthcare, and so it just felt like I was on all day long, from starting work at 8 until way past 10 at night, and I just needed a break. And I feel like in a doctoral program, if you are a working professional, your research and your papers are going to be the same way. They're going to be in the field that you're in. They're going to be, related to what you're doing. And so it's just going to feel nonstop. And so you need a pause, because there were times this semester where I really contemplated, can I do this? Because the workload just became so much, and I just felt so stressed. And then there's a lot of talk between doctoral students on, once you get a doctoral degree, you're considered an expert, but all of the work that you do makes you feel like you know nothing. And it does take a toll, and it's very stressful. And I'm not trying to persuade people not to pursue your degree, but it does come with the territory, and it's in all fields. And it's people who are pursuing a PhD as well, or an EDD. It's just something that, because of how extensive the coursework is, it happens. And so trying to navigate through that is going to be a little difficult. But what really helped me was remind yourself why you started. And I think the biggest thing that helps you make any decision is, if I did quit, what would I be doing, and would I regret it? And I know I would absolutely regret it. And if I did quit, it now, there's no reason. That made me realize that it was what I was doing to myself, because I don't have children right now. I go to work and then I come here and I do create content, but really, what else am I going to be doing with my time? So it was more of a will thing. It's not a skill thing. And I feel like that's something you should consider is it a skill or a will? Is it because I can't do it or because I think I can't do it? And it was because I think I can't do it. And just having that conversation with yourself and kind of motivating yourself is really beneficial. But again, that only happens if you take breaks. So take mental health breaks. They're very important, because I already know now that this is something I need to figure out, because it is the first semester and I'm already having these feelings. And you know, people talking about leaving in our cohort, because there are people who have mentioned leaving the program because of how extensive it is. I just need to remind myself my goals and everything that I mentioned in my admissions essay. Next question. How do you use your iPad for school? So that's a really good question. And this is something that I've been asked a lot frequently as well. So I purchased an iPad for school. So this is the Apple case with it. And I picked the 11-inch Pro, and I got an Apple Pencil. And I purchased all of these for reasons. For many reasons. If I travel, this is more compactable app than my 16-inch MacBook Pro. I use Google Docs on all of my assignments because our email is our school email is set up through Google, and so everything's stored on there, and I can use any device that I want. I just have to sign into Google to write my papers or do what I need to do. And so I have the iPad set up for school. So I have school apps. I have a little reminder widget on the side where, and well, now there's nothing in there, but let me show y'all. So I took every assignment that needed to be done and put them in the reminder widget and then marked them off as they were done. But that way I knew every assignment, every deadline, and they were all in here, in addition to putting them into my planner. But I would get notifications on my phone because it's synced to my phone as well if something was due or if there was a meeting. And it was nice to just have that on there. And then for our program in this class, they recommended that we get EndNote for journals and research. And so I am obviously a pen and paper person and I prefer books. However, most journals are online and I didn't want to print out every single journal. Like right now in my EndNote library, there's 100 articles in here. And so EndNote is just one platform that you can use. There's different ones. But essentially it just stores all of your journals, articles, ebooks, and you can categorize them to make it easier. So I did it by assignment. I also have them categorized by like type of marketing or industry, and you can also use it to cite. So when you're done with your paper, there's a cite option and it'll just copy and paste. You can also, it's also incorporated into Word, so you can do in-text citations with it. It's a really nice tool to have. But I primarily purchased the iPad for this app because I can pull up any article. I can use my Apple Pencil to highlight any notes. I can write notes. I can leave comments or type in anything with the keyboard, and then it syncs to my EndNote library and I can access it on my iMac when I'm typing my paper. Or I can use this separately to read the article when I'm writing my paper and have two screens at once. It's also a lot more comfortable if I want to read a few articles and I just want to be on the couch that I'm on now with Mira and not be at my desk and kind of change it up, or be on the couch downstairs or be in bed and read something, and easily have my iPad here reading the article, and then I can easily take notes, and then it's synced so that I have it on anywhere that I can use EndNote. I'm trying to see one article that I highlighted in. I purchased an iPad during my master's program for the same reason. We're also going to have ebooks, and I just want to be able to treat this like a book so that I feel like I have a book with me. That's ultimately why I bought it, but it's been very helpful when it comes to reading because I can take it anywhere, and then I still have that feeling like it's not on my screen, because I just have like multiple screens on my computer. So I have my laptop up, I'll have this here, and if I want to copy and paste or quote something from the articles, I can still do that through EndNote because it's on both platforms, but I can use this as a reader. But other than that, that was all of the questions that were asked. And that was just a little overview of my first semester. I really just wanted to keep things honest with you guys so y'all can get a real sense of what school's like. So yeah, other than that, that is going to be it for this video. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and thank you guys so much for watching.